Am I the butthole for cutting off my dad after he chose his new wife over me? Hey Reddit, I 27F have always had a complicated but strong relationship with my dad. My parents divorced when I was 10, and while it was a messy and painful process, my dad and I stayed close. My mom was more distant, focusing on her career, but my dad was the one who really stepped up. He became my rock, my confidant, and, in many ways, my best friend. We would spend every weekend together doing things like going to the park, playing board games, or just watching movies. He always told me, no matter what happens, you'll always be my number one girl. For years, it felt like it was just the two of us against the world. He was my biggest supporter, whether it was helping me with school projects, showing up to my soccer games, or even helping me navigate my first heartbreak in high school. He made me feel special and like nothing could ever come between us. Then, about 3 years ago, he met her Brenda 45F. She seemed nice enough at first, and I was happy that my dad had found someone who made him happy. After years of being single, he deserved it. I genuinely wanted to give Brenda a chance, and I was hopeful that maybe we could all get along. But right from the start, something felt off. Brenda was different. She never seemed to like me, and honestly, I never understood why. She would make passive-aggressive comments, like how my dad and I spent too much time together. Or she'd say things like, "It must be hard for you to see your dad with someone else after so long." She acted like I was clinging to my dad or competing with her for his attention, which wasn't true at all. I was just trying to maintain the relationship I'd always had with him. First, I let it slide because I didn't want to be the jealous daughter or make my dad feel like he had to choose between us. But as time went on, her attitude toward me became more blatant. Whenever my dad and I made plans, Brenda would suddenly need him for something else, whether it was fixing something around the house or going out for an impromptu date night. It started to feel like every time I tried to spend time with him, Brenda would swoop in and monopolize his attention. I tried talking to my dad about it, but he always brushed it off, saying things like, "She's just trying to get to know you better," or "She's not used to this dynamic yet. Give her time." So, I gave her time, a lot of time, but things only got worse. Then, about a year ago, my dad and Brenda got married. I wasn't thrilled about the wedding, but I was there to support him because, well, he's my dad. But even during the wedding planning, Brenda made it clear I wasn't a priority. She left me out of key decisions, even though I thought I'd at least be involved in helping plan some of it. Instead, Brenda leaned on her own family and friends for help, and I felt like an outsider at my own dad's wedding. After they got married, it felt like my dad started slipping away from me completely. We used to talk on the phone multiple times a week, but now it was down to once every few weeks. If that, our weekend hangouts became a thing of the past. Whenever I tried to make plans with him, Brenda would conveniently have something scheduled for them to do together, or she'd tag along to make sure we didn't have any one-on-one time. The situation reached a breaking point 6 months ago. I had just completed my master's program, and I was incredibly proud of myself. I wanted my dad to be there for my graduation. It was a huge deal for me. I sent him an invitation months in advance, and he promised me he'd be there. I didn't even ask Brenda to come. I just wanted a moment to celebrate with my dad, like we always had in the past. A week before the graduation, he called me and said he couldn't make it. Brenda had planned a last-minute vacation for the two of them, and he didn't want to disappoint her by canceling. I was stunned. I had worked so hard to get my degree, and the one person I wanted there more than anyone was my dad, but he chose Brenda over me again. I couldn't hold back my frustration, and I told him how much it hurt me that he was putting Brenda first. But he just didn't get it. He said I was being selfish and that I needed to accept that his life had changed. That conversation was a wake-up call for me. It felt like I had lost my dad. The man who once promised I'd always be his number one girl was now treating me like an afterthought. I tried to move past it, but the resentment kept building. The final straw came on my birthday a few months ago. I wanted to spend the day with my dad, just the two of us like old times. He agreed, and I was actually looking forward to it. But on the morning of my birthday, I got a text from Brenda, not my dad, saying that they had plans and he wouldn't be able to make it. She didn't even give me a reason, just that my dad wouldn't be there. That was the moment I realized Brenda was controlling everything, and my dad was letting her. I called my dad, furious, and told him how much it hurt me that he had completely abandoned our relationship for his new wife. His response? He told me that I needed to grow up and that I was acting like a spoiled child. He said that Brenda was his wife now and that she came first. Whether I liked it or not, that was it. I couldn't take it anymore. I told him that if he couldn't make space for me in his life, then I didn't want to be a part of it. I made the decision I blocked his number, stopped answering his emails, and haven't spoken to him since. Now, I'm hearing through the grapevine that my dad is upset and thinks I overreacted. Some family members have even reached out, telling me I'm being unreasonable and that I should apologize to him. They say I'm being selfish and that I should be happy he's found someone who makes him happy. But how can I be happy for him when his happiness came at the cost of our relationship? So, Reddit, AITA for cutting off my dad after he chose his new wife over me? Should I have tried harder to make it work, or was I right to walk away from a relationship that was causing me so much pain?